Good day, this is Andy speaking, welcoming you to watch a 2025 update to the Expert Field Medical Badge instructional videos. This video is the Warrior Skills Task 8, Resection of Military Maps, Part 2, Military Maps. The video was recorded in September 2025 and tasks are performed to the June 2024 EFMB standards recorded in MEDCoE Pamphlet 350-10. A special thanks to the 64th Medical Detachment for demonstrating this task and filming the video. These videos were filmed to enable local unit training and testing and are not affiliated with the EFMB Test Control Office.
Hello candidates, my name is Corporal Khan and today I will be going over your terrain features, colors on your military maps, the different types of contour lines, and your topographic symbols. Right here on this corkboard, we have all 10 different terrain features. You have 5 major, 3 minor, and 2 supplementary terrain features. Your 5 major are your hill, your saddle, your valley, your ridge, and your depression. Your hill is one of the easier terrain features to find on a map, as they are a series of concentric shapes that are either shrinking into or expanding out from a point. The centermost shape usually has a number written in it somewhere. That number tells you its elevation. If that number is not present, you do not need to worry, as it is the shape of the hill itself that tells you whether it's a hill. Then you have your saddle. A saddle is a dip with the topographic importance on a map between 2 hills, as you can see here. Saddles are not always as dramatic or as drastic as you can see in the example picture. However, they can be. Then you have your ridge. And this picture here is a good example of a ridge line, but a bad example, topographic example of a ridge. I'll show you a better picture on the map later. A ridge is the highest path between 2 raised points. A better example would be going straight across from one hilltop to the other right here. If you need a separate example, say your first knuckle is one hilltop, your last knuckle is another. The most direct, highest route between those 2 points would be your ridge. Then you have your valley. A valley usually has some sort of water feature running through it, such as a river or a stream. They are not always present, but they usually are. All valleys do have some combination of saddles, hills, and ridges surrounding them. Then you have your depression. A depression is a self-contained sunken portion of land. I know this picture is hard to decipher, but if you have ever seen a picture of a canyon, imagine those sheer-sided drops all the way around. On maps, they're shown through a single solid line that is connected to itself with dashes facing in towards your drop. As you can see here, there's a minimum of 1, but there's no upper limit on how many lines there can be. Those are your 5 major terrain features. Your 3 minor are your draw, your spur, and your cliff. You can usually find your draws and your spurs right next to each other, as shown in the topographic picture here. However, as you can see on this topographic picture, that is not always the case. Draws are an area of lower elevation that are drawn into an area of higher elevation. They can have a creek running through them, but not always. However, if you are just looking at their topography, you need to be careful not to confuse your draws and your valleys. As well, valleys are usually larger and more complex than your draws. If these 2 topographic images were to scale, you would see that is not always the case. Then you have your spurs. Your spurs are an area of higher elevation that juts or spurs out into an area of lower elevation. As shown in the topography here, gentle slope, gentle slope, gentle slope, and then it drops off sharp. Gentle, 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 sharp. And you can see the examples of three spurs here. You have probably heard someone refer to them as a foothill or a finger at some point. Then you have your cliff. A cliff is a sheer, sudden drop in elevation. They're shown through one of two methods on maps. Either a single solid line, as seen here, with dashes facing out towards the drop, as looking somewhat similar to a depression. Or they're shown through several contour lines coming to a single line. The second one usually denotes a more sudden or drastic drop than this one does. However, that is not always the case. Then you have your two supplementary terrain features, your cut and your fill. Your cut is shown by two parallel lines with dashes facing in. And then your fill is shown by either two parallel lines or a single line with dashes facing out. Cut in, fill out. They are always man-made, and they usually denote either railroad tracks or unpaved roads. Next, we are going to move on to the map over here for the colors. Not all colors are shown on this map, as it is a newer one. There are 6 colors that you will find on any given map. Green denotes vegetation, such as dense shrubbery, forests, and orchards. Blue is your water and your water features. Black is specifically man-made cultural features, your surveyed spot elevations, and all labels. You can see an example of all 3 of those up in this section of the map right here. Then you have a more complicated one, brown. While it is not shown on here, brown denotes cultivated land, such as farmland or ranches. However, on older maps and older maps only, brown represents your relief features and your contour lines. Also, on older maps and older maps only, the color red. Red is there for your populated areas, your main roads, and your boundaries. Pretend that this gray area is red. It would, on an older map, that would be red. This road here, on an older map, that would be red. This boundary here, instead of being purple on this map, it would be red on an older map. Then you have red-brown. Red-brown is all cultural features, such as your relief features, your non-surveyed spot elevations, and your contour lines, on specifically red light readable maps, such as this one. Then you have your contour lines. There are 3 different types of your contour lines: your index, your supplementary, and your intermediate. Your index contour lines are bold and have a number written in them somewhere, such as this one right here. I know you can't see that, but it is there. It says 400. That 400 tells you the elevation that that specific line represents. Then you have your supplementary. Your supplementary contour lines are dotted, dashed, or broken in some way. They denote a more ambiguous or erratic change in elevation, such as a gravel or a scree slope, or elevation that changes so dramatically and drastically that if you had solid lines on a map, it would not make any sense. An example is circled right there. Then you have your intermediate contour lines. Your intermediate contour lines are your most common contour lines. They are not broken, nor are they bold. They are the most numerous contour lines you will find on any given map. To revisit the example of the ridge that I said I would give earlier, there's one drawn right here. 3 hills in a line. If you go across this way, that would be a ridge.